Breaking. The DC mayor pulls a major move on Trump. Listen to the end. Hi, I'm Darren Monroe. I used to work on Kamala Harris's campaign. I have 30 years marketing branding experience. I used to work for Universal, DreamWorks, MCA, iHeartMedia. I did the marketing here in Chicago for Jay-Z, Eminem, Limp Bizkit, Nelly Furtado, The Roots, and marketed $6 billion worth of films. And what I do these days is point out through clarity how you get things done. In fact, you want to find out about that? All you got to do is click the link in my description of this video or go to my homepage channel on YouTube. And beyond subscribe, go ahead and click the link and join my Clarity group. My Clarity group, I got special reports coming out, and I got a special one coming out in the next 24 hours you want to hear. It's about the DC mayor and the major trick she's pulling right now on Donald Trump. And I'm going to give you some ideas publicly what it's about, but I'm going to tie it into a whole bunch of other secret shit in the Clarity group. So listen to the end on this as I break it all down to you, because this is going to be great. First of all, I want you to understand that many people thought that the DC mayor, would absolutely come back and clap back on Trump the same way that the LA mayor, I'm going to give you some comparables, the LA mayor has done, the Chicago mayor has done, okay? And the mayoral candidate, Mamdani, has done. They were looking for that clap back, and they didn't get it. They didn't get it. She did just the opposite. She was super smooth and capitulated. Say, yeah, okay, you got it. The first thing you got to understand is that unlike those other mayors, she does not have a governor, because DC does not have a state. They should be a state, but they're not. They don't have a state. So here's the thing. District of Columbia needs to be a state, and it's not a state. So here's the thing I'm going to point out to you that you should pay attention to. Because if you read in between her live press conference yesterday, it came down to this. Her legal counsel for the city probably knew they didn't have a strong enough case to tell the president to get out. But there's also some very clear things that we're seeing right in front of our face. So hear this out to the end. The first thing we see very clearly is that this man's willing to call in National Guard when he wasn't willing to do it on January 6th. He's being called out by that right now. Second thing, most obvious, is, oh, you did this around the same time as Epstein. Hey, make sure you binge watch all my content, everybody. You want to see my last 10 videos. You will be like, oh my God. Here's the thing. The idea is that she is pulling away, right? Very carefully pulling away and letting him go in the door and not challenging him in the door. There's a reason for this when you think about it. Given the uniqueness of her situation, we know for a fact, and people have repeated this, I'm very grateful. I'm always critical of a lot of creators, but this time, even the alarmists got it right. They said, okay, one, this is Epstein. Okay, two, this is a lie, because the DC crime has gone down in the last 30 years. Everybody knows the numbers. So they're making stuff up. Steve Miller, as we know, is a all-natural, 100% full of crap liar. So we know that this is liabilities going on, and they need the truth insulin. But it gets better. Let's think about the model that Mayor Bass used in LA. The mayor used it like this. She did fight. Her and Newsom are still fighting. But there was a certain point where they let them go to their own demise. Think about that. In my previous video, and if you haven't seen it, go look at it. In their own demise, he's going to have these National Guards walk around or drive around in cars or both. And they're going to do what? If you're a street motherfucker in D.C., let's go hood with it, because I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm here in Chicago. I'm going to break it down. If you're a street motherfucker, you trying to move outside of them realms. You're trying not to start anything because you want your money to go. You ain't got time for the in-between. The whole point is this. You're going to move around that. You're not trying to get outgunned. So, are they going to see much action Most likely not. Are they going to be harassing people like they were in LA? Most likely so. Are people already protesting in small and larger groups? Very much so. Are they getting a lot of media attention? Absolutely. Are people in the last 24 hours forgetting about Epstein? No, they're bringing up even more, which I'm very happy to report and say. But there's some other things you need to pay attention to. There's some other secret behind the scenes going on. And I'll go into a deeper dive in the Clarity Group. For those in the Clarity Group, you'll hear me talk about it. You're going to love what I say there. So make sure you definitely join. Click the link in the description. Go over to the homepage and join. Here's the deal. What's really happening is that Donald Trump has 48 hours to file papers on behalf of the administration to go further than 48 hours. Now, he could disregard that law, but that opens up a lot of bullshit on his end. He has to file those papers. If he files those papers and he gets the yes and everything, then he has another 30 days. But I don't think this is going to last that long, because the reality of the matter is that what he's doing is trying to manufacture an event that outdoes the Epstein files. And people have already been trained, conditioned in the last 4 weeks. That's Epstein. What? He's doing what? No, that's Epstein. What? He's doing it? No. But I've been training people in my Clarity Group this for the last 4 months about this. Like, everything he says at the beginning of the week and the end of the week is a narrative warplay. In fact, I'm going to be live tonight. Join me live tonight in my Clarity Group. We have something weekly we have called Narrative Warfare, and I'll be doing a deep dive on this with DC, as well as I'll have a special report I'm putting out for the Clarity Group about it. Here's how this works. Basically, what he wants to do is project strength, not only to get you to ignore the Epstein files, but there's something else that's just as interesting that he's doing. What he's doing is taking this moment to soften the blow like he did with LA to bring troops in. He wants to fuck with the 2026 and 2028 elections. Now, it's going to be not only the Democrats, but the election officials in each state to blow back and say, fuck you. Will they do it? We don't know. But it will be a super hard you to do it on. Facts. And what I'm saying to you is that your bigger picture to this is being the person who recognizes the mental warfare that he's doing. I'll say it like this. The wealthiest thing Donald Trump has is not his billions. It's the free space he rents in the heads of the people who hate him. Yeah. Truth. Rush Limbaugh did this. He took a playbook from Rush Limbaugh, and he's in with you about this. What I also want you to understand in this bigger picture is that his goal, Donald Trump's goal, is to climb in people's minds and convince them that he controls martial law in the streets of everyday cities. The question is, does he? Because here's been the result of him trying to do that, whether it be LA, Chicago, New York, or anywhere else, Boston, Philadelphia. It's been nothing but protest, fight back, anger, resistance. Why is that? Because it's not just that we're a blue city, it's all cities. We don't do dictator and autocrat. And we got to be careful how we attach his name to stuff. Dictator, autocrat. Because there's going to be a problem. I did a video, you should see it. And it's called The Only Way Trump Will Go to Jail Guaranteed. Look it up. Look it up. It's one of the best videos I've ever done. And I broke down a theory, but it's a real fact that can happen. There are thousands of investigators who are federal who lost their jobs. They're not famous like Jack Smith. They're very unfamous. They're very unknown. But they're very meticulous, and they're good at what they do, and they love what they do. They are passionate. It's what they do. They would do this for free if they had to. And one of the things they're looking at is this motherfucker right here. They're looking at everything this administration does. Do you know there are 8 different types of investigations happening right now in the Donald Trump administration? You can find out in my Clarity group. I got a report I did pointing out 8 different investigations. Here's the bad news. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you in the open. Hopefully they don't, again, flag my shit again, give me my content. Here's the thing. They can't introduce anything until after this guy's gone. Whether it be Kamala in there, which I'm hoping she'd be the next president. Not going to be as soon as we want. A lot of people want to believe that, but not true. I'm keeping it real with you, but whether it's Kamala in there or whoever we can get in there to replace this guy, there are going to be investigations rolling out in less than 4 years. Rolling out, and they're working them right now. Now, why am I bringing this back to this moment? Because what we're looking at, and I'm going to get back to the D.C. mayor and her strategy, what we're looking at right now is a scenario where before we go into D.C. mayor, a scenario where Donald Trump and his people are breaking so many laws that every law, it's like every breath you take, like this thing. It's good. Every law you break, and they'll be watching you. He's bringing more attention on himself the more he does this shit. And what I'm bringing this back to with the D.C. mayor is her legal counsel, and rightfully so, has told her, chill. One, we don't know if we can fight this legally, because we're not a state, because of where we stand. There are federal advantages that the feds have in D.C. versus any other city. 2, it's his game to lose. For 40 years, he has failed at everything he governs, whether it be buildings, water, planes, whatever. If she steps back, which is what she's doing, capitulating, step back, she's letting him fuck himself up. She's letting him walk into his own shit. And he will, because he has incompetent people who are loyal ass kissers. And they don't know what they're doing. And there's such a humongous arrogance of this group. Now, as you know, whether it be the National Guard or the military, they swore an oath to the Constitution, not to the President of the United States. I talk also in a private report in the Clarity group about the 5 different civil wars, and one of which was military. There are people on standby for this shit. And I don't mean on their side. I don't know how many are on our side of democracy, the Constitution, but we got some. And I don't think it's a small number, both in the leadership, the ranks, and the soldiers. It's going to be a rough road over the next 3.5 years. But I think what the D.C. mayor's done is right. It's been very meticulous to step back and let him walk into this shit. And with the people who have been investigating, and they are, but they can't bring nothing up right now to this administration. Think about it. They won't even let the Epstein files go out. They're playing a smooth, soft, behind-the-scenes game. And what we have to do is continue to, 1, support the D.C. mayor, 2, support the people fighting for the Epstein files, even though I don't think we'll ever find out what really happened. 3, support the Texas Democrats and continue to stay focused and support them. 4, which is very important, number 4, we have to support the movement that is happening to get a better midterm show up. And we do that by, as much as possible, spreading clarity, what's going on, assessment. There are people who aren't doing assessment. Slowly but surely, some of the alarmists are catching on and figuring out, maybe I ought to better, report more than breaking news. But it goes a little deeper than that. The question becomes, can we get our Democratic Party to act right? Because there's several of us who worked on that campaign, thousands, tens of thousands, as well as people, some of you, who may feel they're liberals and progressives, but they sure as hell ain't feeling Democratic. And there's nothing we can do. We ain't voting Republican. We ain't independent. And as I tell many young people, apathy is not a strategy. We need your help. And we need you to not only fight back and speak out, but we need you to speak up. And other than just doing the protests, the biggest thing we got to do against Donald Trump, because this is where his genius is at, and it is genius, is his ability to manipulate narratives through the media and the internet. Even though we're clear what he's doing right now with DC, be very clear, this man has a way to manipulate and pull attention away. That's why he sent those troops, because he knew it was catching some sort of talking speed, and he wants to keep that going. So you forget about Epstein, you forget about the Louisiana, Louisiana Calais rule, whatever that they're doing on redistricting maps and taking the black vote. They want you to forget about the case law, the case action suits that are happening with relation to the big, beautiful BS bill. They want you forgetting that, because if you're forgetting that, if you're focusing on this stuff, this foolishness, you miss it. And I think a lot of people are starting to catch on, and I'm very happy about it. And I think the DC mayor is going to come out much stronger. They're not going to take over jack crap. They're going to march around for a little bit, and then they're going to leave, because there's nothing to take over. There's nothing that's wrong. And if they want to run DC, okay, yeah, that's going to be just as much a mess as the other stuff has. And it pulls her out of it. It's his game to lose, and he's going to lose it. They're going to be here for a little while, then they're going to go. And the psychology is he's going to try to send troops in on every city. Good try with that. It's not going to work with the other cities, especially those that have states. There's going to be blowback and fight. We are the rebel nation. Watch all of my last 10 videos, especially the one I just mentioned about how Donald Trump goes to jail. The one way he could go to jail, guaranteed. Also, make sure that you subscribe. Did I earn your subscription? And last of all, you certainly want to get into my Clarity group. It is the bomb. It is incredible. Join that group. It'll make a difference in your life, because you'll be so much happier. And I get to talk about things, with no holdbacks. God bless y'all. God bless America.